Embrace the inclusive spirit. Module 2 of 6. How to communicate confidently with people who are blind or partially sighted. Welcome to our Embrace the Inclusive Spirit Confident Communication course. This module explores how to communicate confidently with people who are blind or partially sighted. It is presented in 5 short sections that cover 1. Different forms of visual impairment. 2. Communicating with people who are blind or partially sighted. 3. Communicating with guide dog users. 4. Guiding people. 5. Using everyday technology to communicate. 1. Different forms of visual impairment. Some people are born blind, and 1 in 5 people will experience sight loss in their lifetime. Around 10 to 15% of people with visual impairment can see nothing at all. Most people with a visual impairment are over 65. This is because sight loss is strongly associated with aging. Eye diseases are the most common reason for sight loss. The degree of sight loss varies depending on the eye condition. People can experience loss to their central vision, which impacts the detail they can see. People also experience loss, which affects how much they can see around the edge of their vision. Most people who have a lifelong eye condition are registered as sight impaired or severely sight impaired. Usually, people who are registered as sight impaired can read text. They may use a magnifying glass or find large text with extra line spacing helpful. The description severely sight impaired does not mean that a person cannot see anything, but that their vision is so impaired that they need a lot of help perceiving images. This means that they may see the world very differently from the way you see it. People who are blind or partially sighted are individuals who have different communication needs, so it is always best to ask what works for them and follow their advice. 2. Communicating confidently with people who are blind or partially sighted. Here are some good practice tips for communicating with people who are blind or partially sighted. Not all will apply to all people. Be considerate of blind and visually impaired people's need to know where they are and who they are with. Be ready to say who you are and to briefly describe the room and who else is there. Approach and speak to people from the front, so they do not need to turn to locate you. When you are close enough to be heard, stand still and introduce yourself by name. Speak directly to them, not to someone else in the company. Speak at a natural pitch and speed. Unless it is a very brief encounter, ask people their name. Use it when addressing them so they know when you are speaking to them and not someone else. Answer using words, not gestures, such as nodding or pointing. Don't worry about using words to do with vision, color, or shapes. Describing something as a red flag or saying, "It's nice to see you," are part of everyday language and won't cause offense. Be clear and thorough when you describe things or places. Give specific directions such as, "Your table is red and is 4 steps to your right," rather than, "Your table is over there." Give a quick verbal picture of the physical setup, particularly if anything has changed or been added. For example, "Here is your wine, just to your left," or "Your clean towels are on the end of your bed." Find out if your workplace has different tools or information in different formats that you can share. Large print, a screen you can zoom in on, a strong portable light, or even a magnifying glass can help. Give people time. People with visual impairment usually need extra time to work through text. Offer to read the menu and specials board. Ask if customers would like you to fetch items, help with self-service, or carry their food tray or drink. Check in regularly with customers who would have trouble catching your eye. Let people know when you finished the conversation and are moving away. Check they are comfortable. Say if and when you will be back. 3. Communicating confidently with guide dog users. The tips we've just covered also apply to guide dog users, but there are a few more things it is good to know. Guide dogs are working dogs and should not be regarded as pets. If they are wearing their harness, they are on duty. If the handle on their harness is up, they are actively working. Do not grab the person, their cane, or the dog's harness. Always ask if they need assistance. Talk to the person, not the dog. Guide dogs will usually sit quietly next to their owner. If you need to approach the dog, you should speak to the owner first. Always ask the owner if you may stroke a non-working dog. Do not pet a working dog. Do not offer the dog food. It can distract them, upset their diet, and undo training. Keep a dog bowl handy and offer to fetch a drink of water. 4. Guiding people. If someone asks you to guide them, ask them how they like to be guided. Most often, they will ask to take your arm just above the elbow. Your elbow should be bent and they will let you walk ahead of them. As you walk, tell them about changes in levels. If there are steps, say if you are going up or down and guide them to the handrail. Give instructions and flag any hazards, but you do not need to talk all the time. Don't leave someone you are guiding standing alone in free space. It is helpful for them to have something substantial to touch, such as a chair, table, or wall, to maintain their orientation. If guiding someone to a seat, tell the person if they are facing the front, back, or side of the chair, and guide their hand to the back of the seat so they can orientate themselves before they start to sit. If the seat is at a table or it is long, fixed to the floor, or in some way unusual, describe it before guiding their hand to the seat. If the seating is in close rows, enter the row by sidestepping side by side with the person you are guiding, keeping contact by touching the backs of each other's hands until you reach your seat. Allow the person you are guiding to seat themselves. Always say you are leaving before you walk away. 5. Using everyday technology to communicate. Like most people, people with visual impairment use their phone, computer, or tablet to access information. They can zoom in and magnify text, so it is easier to read. Screen reading software can also translate information on screen into speech or braille. Have menus, price lists, and other useful information online in plain text. Customers can find out the information they need to know in advance of their visit, or when they are with you, you can guide them to the information on your website or via a QR code. Thank you for completing this module. Now move on to Module 3 to learn how to communicate confidently with autistic people.